Great. Yeah, good afternoon. I don't know if it's bad to be the first one after lunch, but I'll try to keep you all awake. And so this is really just to tell you what our vision is. We want to accelerate the future of regenerative medicine and develop regenerative medicine treatments that will help people everywhere. And also we have a part of our company where we want to actually engage the public in this effort and help in educating them about regenerative medicine and about genetics. What drives and shapes our existence? So there's really two things. There's around the genetics and around the regenerative medicine. So as many of you know, the Human Genome Project had a huge impact on our understanding of genetics, and it really gave us that building block, the blueprint for building a human being. And so, and then, further, it's really facilitated a lot of understanding between genes, health, and behavior. And now, actually, I'm sure many of you are aware, you can order the DNA tests, anybody can, and learn more about your genetics. And I'll talk about, what ORIG3N has in that area. And then around advances for regenerative medicine, the real advances here came from the discovery in 2006 by Shinya Yamanaka around induced pluripotent stem cells. And so this allowed the ability of just taking adult cells and reprogram them to become these pluripotent stem cells that are a lot like embryonic stem cells. So they have the ability to differentiate into any tissue in your body. And so this has really facilitated the whole field of regenerative medicine. So, why now? People are much more aware of their health. People are taking a lot more self-interest in their health, and looking on the web at all the information that's allowable, and to really have access and take charge of their health. So it's really a good time, I think, for regenerative medicine and people to understand that, and also around genetics. So one thing that we really feel strongly about is actually all of the information that comes from the genetics and people's health actually should be owned by people, by the individuals, and they can choose whether to share them or not. But we do feel strongly any information that we get actually belongs to the individual. So we have sort of three-part strategy in terms of what we do. One is around cell therapies and cell bank, and I'll talk about that first. And then the other two are around the genetics, and then also, what we do in terms of the community outreach, and you'll see how that plays in. So around regenerative medicine, what we've done is we've collected a large cell bank of cells, and we've characterized them. We collect blood samples from around the country for public events, and I'll show you a little bit more of that. And one thing we've done is we've HLA typed our bank. So this is the idea of having a ready supply of allogenic cells that can be used for therapies. And one thing about our cell bank is we have uniform consent and fully waived. So these donors who have given us samples, they allow us to share these cells with other people, so as a great resource, and also to, that we can commercialize their cells for therapies. And so this is just showing you what we do. So we go to various events. It could be marathons, it could be music festivals, it could be Comic-Cons. And so you can see people actually just line up to give blood samples. And then people also like to take selfies, right, and show off their Band-Aids. We only just take a teaspoon of blood, so it only takes a few minutes. And then here we also work with some foundations, and we also get some people who just at these events come up to us, and this is a boy with a rare disease and his parents that's giving blood. And then we'd go to some military events, and so we have these all over the country, and we've been doing this for now more than 2 years, and have built our bank this way. So how we distinguish ourselves is, one is around the source of the cells, the HLA bank, and I'll explain a little bit more around that. And then also by collecting disease samples. So a component of our bank are normal, quote, normal people, but we also have disease cohorts. And these you can study them in vitro, in a dish, and be able to understand more about the diseases, and also be able to segment patient populations better by being able to study large populations with specific diseases. And then, as I said, we're working on some internal programs for developing cell therapy. So this is, for those of you who may not be aware of sort of the autologous versus allogenic therapy options. So what we've done is we've HLA Match. So HLA is an antigen on the cell surface. It helps identify, your body identify whether something is foreign or something is recognized as self. And so, of course, with organ transplants, you have to match. It's the same kind of thing. You have to match the organ with the recipient so that the cells are not rejected. And there's something called super donors, and so that's illustrated here. So that's when you have 2 copies of the same on the HLA sites. And so this means that this person can match more of the population because all 4 of these individuals would be a match for this person. So it means that you don't need to get many, many hundreds or thousands of lines. You can get fewer lines that will be super donors, and therefore each individual donor cell will be able to help more people in the population. So this is an example. So one of the things we do is we differentiate these cells to cardiomyocytes. And the cool thing, if you're not familiar, is that when you differentiate them to cardiomyocytes, they beat. The cells synchronize and beat similar to your heart. And this also has been found that when somebody has an arrhythmia, and you make their cardiomyocytes, that arrhythmia will be measured in the dish as well. So you can see how you can, this could be really helpful for modeling disease as well as being able to predict what best combination of medicine would be good for that patient. So there's lots of commercial opportunities. I've just listed a few here. So we have some internal programs, and then we also look for partnering on some programs. So anybody who's out there who's working especially on autologous strategies and is interested in pursuing allogenic strategies, we'd love to talk to you. So in terms of the genetics, it really came about when we were collecting cells from the donors. They would say, well, can you tell me something about myself? And so we said, well, no, we can't tell you something based on your cells, but we can offer these genetic tests. And so we started developing really health and wellness sets of genes and to help people not only understand about genetics and not be afraid of them because they're learning about their caffeine metabolism or their ability to for endurance. Potential vitamin levels and stuff, but also it also feeds into our work with the cells. So here's just a picture of our different products that we have now around fitness, nutrition, skin health. We have a child development because we wanted to target kids for them to actually learn about themselves as well. Behavior, and then because we get some samples at Comic-Cons, we have a superhero one as well that's fun. And also we have an app on your phone, so you can get your results right on your phone, and so that's illustrated here. And so on the high level, you can find out whether you're adapt, and maybe you should look into changing your lifestyle as a result, or you're normal, or you might be gifted. And then you can click on any of these genes, then you get more of a description of what the gene is, what you could do about it, and references for those scientists in the audience who want to know the source of the information. And then around the community. So one thing that's unique about Origin is the fact that we basically crowdsource cells, and we involve the community in this process and around them learning more about their genetics. We have an unusual collaboration with the San Francisco 49ers. They came to us at one of our events, and they were interested in partnering with us. And it turns out the owner of the 49ers is a physician, so he has a particular interest in regenerative medicine as well. But basically, they wanted us to come to their games and set up a booth. So we designed this booth that's very much like a locker room, and people can donate, the fans can donate their cells. They can buy the genetic tests. They can take selfies, so that's illustrated here. So that's been actually a really nice collaboration with them. And then just finally, who's the team at Origin? Robin Smith and Kate Blanchard are the co-founders of the company. Robin's the CEO, Kate's the COO. They've been working together on several companies before this. This is Robin's fourth company. And then the other person, whoops, sorry, is, hit the wrong button, is Mike Robot, who's here at this conference as well, and he's the VP of Business Development and Regenerative Medicine and our General Counsel. So that's our team. And then here, just in summary, we were founded in 2014. We've built this large crowdsourced bank of induced pluripotent stem cells to be used for therapy and disease modeling. And we also have a joint venture in China to expand into that community as well. And we have a collaboration with a group in Latin America that's also giving us that reach into the Central and South American market. Here's a picture of many of our partners. So I said San Francisco 49ers. We've been part of this undiagnosed consortium, helping to provide information around genetics, around stem cells, to help diagnose some of these patients that for many years have an illness that hasn't been diagnosed. And then some of the foundations we work with, the Parkinson Foundation, MitoAction, Myotonic Dystrophy, and then some of the companies, Sharp Edge Labs, we have a program on Parkinson's disease. And so that's our company in a nutshell. Thank you very much.